I've always believed that my body is my own control, a principle that feels as unshakable as gravity. It's a truth I've clung to through every stage of my life, and I still think it'll hold firm forever. But what I've come to see, slowly, painfully, is that the choices I make don't exist in a vacuum. They ripple outward, touching my health, my connections with others, even the way I catch my own reflection in the mirror and feel that quiet pang of recognition or regret. My name's Fiona, and I've never liked being told what to do with myself. Growing up, my mom was a constant voice of correction. Fiona, sit straight, or Fiona, that skirt's too short, and by the time I hit college, I'd had enough. I decided then and there, my body, my rules, no exceptions. That mindset carried me through my early 20s, a kind of armor I wore proudly. Then I met Ryan. It was one of those chance encounters that don't feel significant until they are. I was at a coffee shop downtown, hunched over my laptop, when he asked if the seat across from me was free. I said sure, not thinking much of it, and somehow 3 hours slipped by with us still talking. He had this easy charm, a guy who was clearly into fitness but didn't shove it in your face. I liked that he never judged me for skipping the gym or eating fries instead of a salad. We clicked in a way that felt effortless. 8 months later, we were sharing an apartment. A year in, he proposed. Everything seemed to fall into place perfectly. With Ryan, I felt so at ease that I stopped worrying about the little things, whether I'd skip a workout or indulge in an extra slice of cake. Why should I? He loved me for who I was, not some polished version I had to maintain. But over time, I didn't notice how those small choices started adding up. The scale crept upward. My clothes fit a little tighter, though I brushed it off. It wasn't until my sister came to visit that I got a hint of it. "You look happy," she said, but there was this pause, this unspoken, but hanging in the air that I couldn't ignore. Soon after, my favorite jeans wouldn't button anymore. I bought new ones, bigger ones, and told myself it didn't matter. Then came the night that shifted everything. We were getting ready for bed, and I was standing in front of the mirror in my underwear, studying myself. Ryan came up behind me, kissed my neck like he always did, and said casually, "Maybe we could start going on morning runs together again like we used to." I froze, my eyes locking onto his in the reflection. "Why? You think I need to lose weight?" I asked, my voice sharper than I meant it to be. He stumbled over his words. No, I just thought it'd be fun. We haven't done it in a while." I pulled away, my chest tightening. "Just say what you mean, Ryan." He sighed. "I'm only suggesting we could be more active together, that's all." But I wasn't buying it. In my head, I heard what he didn't say. He wanted the old Fiona back, the one who fit into smaller sizes, the one he'd met years ago. Well, too bad for him. The next morning, I decided to make a point. I ordered donuts, glazed, sticky, delicious, and when Ryan walked into the kitchen, I was already halfway through my second one. "Want one?" I asked, my mouth full, daring him to say something. He hesitated, then shook his head. "No thanks, I'm good with my protein shake." I shrugged, "Your loss," and took another exaggerated bite, letting the sugar coat my lips. It felt like a tiny rebellion, a way to say I wasn't bending for anyone. After that, I dove headfirst into the online world of body positivity. I followed accounts that preach empowerment. Your partner should love you no matter your size. Real men don't care about a number on the scale. Your body is yours to do with as you please. It was intoxicating, like they were handing me a megaphone for all the things I'd always felt. Ryan, I decided, needed to get on board or get out. So I started pushing him, testing the limits of his so-called acceptance. When it was his turn to cook one of his lean, healthy dinners, I'd order pizza instead, letting the smell of grease fill the apartment. I'd toss out snarky comments about his fitness obsession when he'd head to the gym, or pull away when he tried to wrap his arms around me, muttering that I felt self-conscious, like it was his fault I didn't want to be touched. "You know, I think you're beautiful," he'd say, his face a mix of confusion and hurt. "Do you, though?" I'd shoot back, daring him to prove me wrong. My friend Zoe was my cheerleader through it all. Over drinks one night, she nodded along as I vented. "Men need to get it. Our bodies aren't here for their pleasure," she said, and I clinked my glass against hers. Exactly. If Ryan can't handle me now, he doesn't deserve me ever. Things came to a head one night when he tried to talk. Fi, can we sit down and figure out what's going on with us? I feel like something's shifted. I cross my arms. Nothing's shifted except your expectations. I'm still me. He looked at me, his voice soft but steady. Are you? Because the Fiona I fell in love with was happy, and you don't seem happy anymore. That stung, a sharp jab I wasn't ready for, but I doubled down. I'm perfectly happy. I'm just done letting you dictate how I should be. He didn't argue back, just walked away, his shoulders sagging in a way that made me pause. But only for a second. I wasn't about to let him guilt me into submission. From Ryan's perspective, it must have looked different. I can imagine him sitting there, replaying how it all unraveled. When he met me, he says he was struck not just by my looks, but by the way I carried myself. Unapologetic, full of life. We'd spend weekends hiking trails, tackling rock walls, even laughing our way through a muddy obstacle course once. It wasn't about being flawless. It was about sharing something, moving together through the world. But lately, he'd say, it's like every suggestion he makes. Let's take a walk, let's hit the park. Turns into a fight, like he's stepping on a landmine he didn't even know was there. That night with the running comment. He probably thought he was reaching for something we'd lost, not throwing a grenade. But after that, he'd tell you, it's been a downward slide. He tries to hug me and I flinch. He mentions anything active, and I snap. 3 weeks without closeness, without even a real touch, and when he brings it up, I twist it into an attack. Maybe you're just not into real women's bodies. I told him once, and I bet that cut deep. To him, it's not about the weight. It's about me treating him like he's the enemy when all he wants is to feel close again. One morning, I showed him a post from some influencer's boyfriend gushing about her curves, her softness, her everything. This is what support looks like. I said, pointing at the screen. Ryan rubbed his temples. Fi! This isn't about your weight. It's about how you've been acting, like I'm out to get you. I scoffed. Classic deflection. You can't admit you're uncomfortable with me now, so you blame my attitude. He set his coffee down, his voice firm. Do you hear yourself? You're throwing around these terms instead of talking to me, the guy you're supposed to marry. I rolled my eyes. Oh, here comes the tone policing. He didn't bite back, just looked at me like he didn't recognize who I'd become. Date night was supposed to be a reset. He booked a table at this Italian place I adore, probably hoping a change of scenery would soften things. But I spent the meal glued to my phone, barely glancing up. Are we ever going to talk about what's happening? He asked, his voice low. Nothing's happening except you can't handle me standing up for myself. I replied, not missing a beat. He took a slow breath. Fi, I love you, but I'm not attracted to someone who resents me. My jaw dropped. Wow, so it is about my weight. He shook his head. No, it's not. Save it. I cut him off, my voice rising. You're just like every shallow guy out there, wanting some perfect little doll, not a real person. He stayed calm, which only made me angrier. That's not fair. I fell in love with everything about you. Your laugh, your mind, your heart. But lately, all I get is this anger. And yeah, attraction's part of a relationship. Right now, it's not your body pushing me away. It's how you're treating me, like I'm the bad guy no matter what I do. I grabbed my purse and stood. I knew you'd never get it. God forbid, I don't exist to please you. I stormed out, leaving him with the check and a table for two. 3 days later, he was gone. I came home from work to find his stuff cleared out, his key on the counter next to a note. I'm sorry it ended like this. I'll always care about you. Care about me? What a load of nonsense. If he cared, he wouldn't have bailed over something so petty. I grabbed my phone, my hands trembling, and typed out a post. 5 years of love down the drain, because I didn't fit some impossible standard anymore. Guess my worth was always about my size. The likes and comments poured in. Men are garbage, you're better off. He didn't deserve you. Zoe texted. You need someone who loves all of you. Some influencer I followed chimed in. This is why I avoid fitness freaks. Each ping felt like a win, proof I was right and he was wrong. I kept it up, posting pics of ice cream with captions about feeding my soul, rants about breaking free from a male gaze. The attention fueled me, a chorus of voices agreeing he was the villain. But then Mia, a friend we both knew, called. "Fi, you okay? Your posts are intense." I bristled. "I'm fine, just telling it like it is." She hesitated. "Have you talked to Ryan lately?" "Why would I?" He walked out. "He's pretty broken up too," she said. "He told me he tried for months to talk about how things were changing, not just the weight stuff." I laughed bitterly. "Oh, he's a victim now? Please." She sighed. "I don't think that's fair. You know Ryan, he's not some jerk." I hung up, fuming. Whose side was she on? Then came a comment that threw me. Leah, a blogger I admired, wrote under one of my posts, "Attraction isn't something anyone owes you, no matter who you are." It sounded like he tried to express himself and you shut him down. I stared at the words, my stomach twisting. I reported it as harassment and tried to forget it. A week later, I saw Ryan on Instagram, laughing with friends at the beach. He looked lighter, freer, like he'd shed something heavy. I tossed my phone away, my chest tight. He was supposed to be miserable, not thriving. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying our fights, me pushing him, daring him to leave, proving he'd fail my test. What was I even testing? I dug out an old photo from our first hike together, both of us sweaty and beaming at the top. We looked so in tune back then. When did that stop? Before the arguments. Before I turned every word into a weapon. Before I decided winning mattered more than us. My eyes stung. What if he was right? What if this wasn't about my body, but how I'd pushed him away? No, I told myself I was defending my rights, my autonomy. But a quiet voice whispered back, "Or maybe you were scared to admit you miss what we had." Months later, I'm on a third date with Amber, sitting at a cafe downtown. She's telling me about a hike she took, her eyes bright, and I'm struck by how simple this feels. No tension, no hidden traps. My phone buzzes Jason, my old roommate. "Fiona's latest post is wild. Brace yourself." I apologize to Amber and check it later. It's a tirade about men and their shallow desires, complete with old photos of us and details I never thought she'd share. The comments are split. Some cheer her on, others tell her to let go. I don't respond. What's the point? She's cast me as the bad guy, and nothing I say will change that script. My sister calls that night. "You okay?" "Yeah," I say, and I mean it. It's sad, but I can't control her story. She pauses. "For what it's worth, this isn't about autonomy. It's about her needing you to be wrong." So she's right. Friends start chiming in online. Miguel writes, "Autonomy goes both ways. Fiona can live how she wants, and Ryan can choose what he's drawn to." Fiona fires back. "So men can ditch women when they're not hot enough?" Misogyny. Then Isla, her old friend, surprises me. "That's not what happened, Fi. Ryan tried to talk about how you were drifting apart. It wasn't your weight, it was your attitude." I shut my laptop, feeling like I'm watching a wreck I escaped. That night, I run, not to impress anyone, but because it steadies me. Fiona used to get that before she saw my habits as a judgment. I think about choice, hers to shift her life, mine to want a partner who meets me halfway. She couldn't see that my feelings mattered too. 6 months on, Fiona's posts barely register. My therapist, I started therapy after Zoe called me out, suggested I stop feeding the cycle. I'd become someone I didn't recognize, fixated on being right. Dating's been rough. The app spit out matches, but not the kind I connect with, not like Ryan. I hate admitting that, but it's true. I miss that spark, that pull. My therapist says you can champion your body and still care about attraction. They're not at odds. I saw Ryan with Amber at the market, laughing over tomatoes, and hid like a coward. They look like us, once. Today, I tried on those old jeans, still too tight. I cried, not for the size, but for realizing I'd push him to prove a point I don't even believe anymore. I've been trying to change, gym trips, calorie apps, meal prep, but it's slow and I stumble. My body resists, and the scale mocks me. My choices, my consequences. In a box in my closet, I find the ring he gave me. It doesn't fit now, a small, sharp truth. My body, my rules. Always. But what I do with it, that's on me.